AIPAC is the Israeli lobby, and they boast publicly that they will support pro-Israel politicians and make sure anyone who's critical of Israel never is allowed to get into Congress because they will fund the opposition. There was another Congressman, Republican, Thomas Massie, who revealed in an interview with Tucker Carlson that every member of Congress has an AIPAC handler, someone who is going to make sure that politician votes for everything pro-Israel. Anything that's against Israel's interests, make sure that you veto it or you don't vote for it, rather. That's coming from the AIPAC handler, and Thomas Massie revealed that in the explosive interview with Tucker Carlson. That's what Dan is referring to.
Just like, look, I'll donate like $100,000 to politicians, you know, and they call me up like, hey, you need anything? Like every week. I don't need shit. I sit on my ass. I don't do anything. I don't care. I don't break any laws. I don't need any favors. Like I just gave it to them because I didn't want to see any more, Democrats in there. So, but that's 100,000. Like what does 100 million buy you? How many phone calls do those guys get?
See how easy it is to buy politicians, how easy it is to influence the U.S. government. He's only giving 100,000, and they're basically calling him they're calling him. He doesn't even have to call. They're calling him and asking, hey, Dan, anything that you need? It's like he's their boss now for just $100,000. Meanwhile, what about AIPAC pumping in 100 million? And that's just a drop in the bucket, because the actual influence is not just through AIPAC, but it's also through an entire Zionist network of businesses, media. That's the real financial incentive to be pro-Israel, is that all of these other businesses and industries and media, they're going to be supporting you. They're going to be on your side. You're going to have access. You go into Congress, you're pro-Israel, you come out a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. That's not just through AIPAC. AIPAC is providing campaign funds, but what's going to enrich you personally as a congressman or a congresswoman? It's this network, these connections, and it's all legal, or it's right at the edge of being legal, or maybe it's illegal. Who cares? There's no one there to enforce it. The people who are enforcing it are just as corrupt.
And so like, I just know how it works, and the system is broken. Like these people get into office and they don't have very much money, and they get out of office with tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not an accident, right?
Is that an Israel thing, or is that anybody? Because China is doing the same thing.
China doesn't have they don't have an AIPAC. Like Israel is the only one that has a lobby in the U.S. Giving these politicians money.
Okay, no.
And so this is a stupid point from Patrick. If China is giving these deals to politicians and stuffing their pockets, that's a huge scandal. And there have been examples of this. U.S. politicians that have been outed as having these kinds of business connections, especially with China. It becomes a huge scandal. Or look at the whole Russia is influencing our elections. Like the only reason that Trump won in 2016 and not Hillary Clinton was because Russia was influencing the election. Like it's a huge scandal. Whereas Israel is doing it like out in the open. They're bragging about it. Like there's no regulation of it. So how is this related? How is Patrick pretending to be dumb? Like he doesn't know how this works.
Every country, the big ones all have lobbyists. They all have lobbying that they're doing.
Not in the U.S. They're registered as foreign entities.
Right. I mean, if you're talking about, are you going to the...
Yeah, so Dan is making precisely the correct point. When you register as a foreign entity, there are all kinds of regulations that you have to abide by. And if you violate that, then you're, forget about being able to even be in the country. But Israel is not registered under all of those. So they can violate any kind of policy that other countries are limited by or are beholden to. That's the difference.